잘하면 정상까지 올라가서 상금 4천만 원까지 가질 수 있는 그게 바로 스타리그입니다. 강동이 가능할지 경기 보죠.
Five, four, three, two, one. This is Deducter bringing you the final match, Terran versus Terran in the OSL Round 24, Group D. Today we have C versus Major. C is the teal Terran or white Terran at the 1 o'clock position, well apparently now he's brown, and Major is the yellow Terran at the 5 o'clock position on the map La Mancha. C acquitting himself fairly well in his game against Cal, and Major losing to Baxter, who is on fire today in his group, possessed by the spirit of the old Zerg rates. That's my only explanation for the turn event, so not too much of shame for losing against Baxter. This is going to be probably a longer-ish game, although perhaps these two players at the end of the day wants to try to finish this earlier and do not want to both put down factory into command center, or rather barracks into command center. It depends on what exactly you're doing. Again, Terran versus Terran is the only matchup we're going. 14 command center is reasonably safe because the standard Terran builds can't really counter it with a fast attack quick enough unless the Terran went for a specific early barracks rush build. Not too much they can do against a 14 command center. So, and Terran, since they can get up their second bases so quickly, tends to last somewhat of a longer game. Although these days, pretty much everybody gets up their second bases, so that's not the correct explanation. Surely the correct explanation must be that with siege tanks and combination of siege tanks and mines and turrets, you can just defend very easily. Hence, gaining position is really what matters the most here. I mean, siege tanks on top of cliffs can hold out for a very long time. And now we see Major sending out his SCV scout. He's checking the middle a bit. He's probably going to scout cross map, it looks like. And barracks going down into his own base for Major there. Both players putting down their barracks. Other player deciding to go for anything crazy. And it looks like Major is paranoid about some sort of potential proxy in the middle. He's sent his SCV around all over the place, it looks like, to scout for anything. And now he is going to come across the sounding SCV of C, and he's going to see where C is. And good work here by Major. I think sometimes, well, in general, always wise to scout around a little bit. You can usually tell whether there is going to be a proxy or not as long as you can get your scout into the opponent's base based on counting buildings and seeing how many buildings the opponent has. But if this is a really, really fast and early rush, then scouting for proxy, those difference of 10, 15 seconds can mean the victory between, the difference between victory and defeat. And this SEV going to die by Major. C killing SEV, Major being very sloppy there. It seems he did not pay attention. And this is a worker killing a worker again. Whereas Major's SEV attempt at harassing C, not very successful. It looks like he's withdrawing his SEV with only 5 health. Perhaps C is going to send the SEV that he has harassing Major up to finish that off. 2-kill SEV would be incredible. So C appears to be playing fairly well. This is I guess this is another one of those games where a worker kills another worker, even though that should not happen. I mean, Major, you could see that he brought down 2 SCVs, and C almost managed to finish off that second SCV, but he did not stick around. Obviously, his own SCV nearly dead, so C is forced to withdraw. But wouldn't it have been incredible if C managed to kill 2 SCVs with one of his own? That would be quite nice. Now, see, looks like he is sending out a second SEV scout. Perhaps he's gonna, besides the obvious scouting purpose, perhaps he is hoping to sneak in there and catch that SEV with only 5 HP and finish it off, trading an SEV for SEV. Not necessarily the wisest choice, but if you're getting some scouting information in the meantime, it certainly seems like a worthwhile trade. Perhaps he hopes to catch Major's forces out of position, but Major has positioned all his Marines at his front door. He's put down 2 factory, not building his machine shop just yet. Both players going to send out early vultures, it looks like. Oh, C, if he could pop in with a vulture, that would finish the SCV off. And C, sending out his SCV at just the right time. It looks like C, does he spot the SCV with 5 health? He's parading around the natural, but no, he must not have spotted the SCV because he's sending his SCV as a strict scout here. Major almost catching C's vulture. C trying to micro his vulture against these Marines. Should be fairly successful. That vulture took a lot more hits than I thought it would, but it's going to finish off the Marines with reinforcements. Don't know whether C's vulture is... Oh, okay, his vulture is alive. 3 kills, very nice. Vulture got all the kills on the Marines, and so the early little push, it wasn't really even a push by Major. I guess he was hoping to unite his Marines with the vultures he was building. Unfortunately, the plan did not quite work out for him. The C putting down 2 more factories. Looks like C is going for a very heavy vulture build. This might be some exciting vulture versus vulture action here. And Major built quite a few vultures of his own. He's put down a starport. C is going to be in a good position to counter whatever wraiths that Major is going to send out, because this is, I mean, with four factories, Major is not going to be able to cope with the number of Goliaths that C could build. And C winning this early little skirmish here against the vultures. C picking off, it looks like, all the vultures of Major's. Very nice job. Major is sending out 2 Goliaths, it looks like. C might want to press the attack, I'm not sure. Okay, C putting down a second machine shop, so it looks like he is not going to go too heavy on the vultures. He has built quite a few. I think it would be wise to group them up and going for a nice little attack on the SCV line. Major only now putting down 2 more factories. He hasn't even gotten a machine shop yet. It is odd play, I have to say, by Major. Not quite sure what he's trying to do here. Barracks out here for C trying to scout. It's not going to see the lack of machine shops. It is going to probably see the starport here, or any units the starport builds. Likely to be a dropship, it looks like, since there is a control tower. Perhaps he's going for Goliath drops or Goliath vulture drops. Kind of a odd build, especially if the vultures don't have mines. I mean, without mines, vultures do nothing against tanks or Goliaths. So I am not sure what Major is trying to play at here. C sending out quite a few tanks to the front. C also getting his academy for scan. Now Major finally getting his machine shop. Looks like Major built a Wraith instead, so he wants to go for cloaked Wraiths plus Goliaths. That's an interesting maneuver. I still do not know what Major hopes to accomplish with this. He needs to be careful with his Goliaths and not walk them into mines, that he would incur way too many losses if something like that happened. So Major, with some unexpected play here, C is playing fairly standard with a heavier emphasis on vulture. He's mining up the front here of Major's. Major revealing his raves, but he is researching cloak now, it looks like. This probably will force C back temporarily, but C is going to be able to counter. No, C is not getting deterred by these 2 raves. He's pushing ahead with his attack anyway. If he's using the tanks to fight the mech forces here of Major's, doing a lot of damage. Almost all his tanks go down. All his tanks go down, it looks like. And C being warded off here. His vulture is not able to do the damage. And Major, with a nice defense, he's also going to pick off C's barracks. So pretty nice play here by Major. Solid defense. If C had some mines, I think he probably would have been able to break through, just mine up the front there. Now Major putting down his second machine shop, so he is going to get his own tanks. Finally, at this point, Major sending his Braves to harass C a bit, stopping his barracks from going up again. Without barracks, he cannot build more factories, so a delay there is always nice. C managed to catch a few of Major's forces out here in the middle of the map, destroying quite a few vultures. So C again looks like wants to set up a contain outside of Major's base. Major with the dropship. He is going for a drop right now. He needs to be a bit careful about his front. Major has very nice mobility this game, I have to say. Double upgrades at the machine shop. Surely one of them is Siege Tank Siege mode. Now, the 2 Wraiths are cloaked, but C has scan. I don't think C's going to mind this too much. He needs to finish, rather, I should say Major needs to finish his siege mode now. C's got 4 tanks at the front. Now Major trying to counterattack. Harassment doing very good job, I have to say, killing quite a few SCVs, but he cannot afford to lose his front. Now C, looks like Major still has units inside of C's base. Finally, that harass getting cleaned up, but killed quite a few SCVs, it looks like, and Major forced to withdraw all his SCVs at the natural. C's tightening his stranglehold at this position here. If C can establish a solid contain, I should say, and as long as Major cannot break through, there is not too much that Major is going to be able to do. He has no choice but to try to break through, I feel, because this command center is getting shelled. C's already got his 3rd command center up in mining. At this point, things are looking very dire for Major. His Cloaked Wraith not quite working out correctly, doing his best to pick off the tanks, but C's got a lot of vultures too. That command center still under heavy fire, and Major not getting siege mode, and that decision was just foolish. I mean, if he had siege mode, things would not have come to this. And now C seeing the tank siege up, sending his vultures. He might be laying mines now. The vultures are just there to absorb fire, but all of Major's tanks, it looks like, goes down. This is surely GG for Major. A baffling play, I have to say. He was trying for some sort of Cloaked Wraith Goliath strategy, but not working out against a standard sort of play coming from C. And C, it looks like, is going to make it out of this particular ODT group. GG coming here from Major. So, great series, I have to say. Well, mostly Game 2, C versus Baxter. Absolutely astonishing game. Rest of the series, less exciting. And I was quite distracted, I have to say, because my mind is still on that game. Thank you for watching.